So we're taking forward towards the first panel discussion where we'll be reimagining the government services of delivery through digital transformation and e-governance. Now, we do have a couple of familiar faces in the industry who will be joining us right here on stage. So we would like to take forward this time and invite our very own Dr. Adapa Karthik to join us right here. But before that, we have a very handsome hunk who has joined us right here on stage. But at this moment, he will be calling upon our very own NSN Murty sir from Government and Public Service, the consulting leader of Deloitte India, to join us as the moderator of today's session. Please put your hands together for Mr. Murty. Well, sir, we'll not be leaving you alone because at this moment we'll be calling upon Dr. Adapa Karthik, a Special Secretary from the Department of Health and Family Welfare and Department of Governance Reform from Government of Punjab, to join us on stage. Dr. Adapa Karthik, let's have you joining us on stage. Next, we would like to call upon Shiv and Tayal from the Managing Director of Jammu Power Distribution Corporation Limited, UT of Jammu and Kashmir, to join us on stage.
We changed the moderator at the last moment and hence nobody is coming.
Oh, no, nothing like that, sir. Well, we got to know that Sarashiram had an injury, which is why he could not join us right here on stage. But don't worry, sir. We know that you're going to do an excellent job for us right there.
Yeah.
Well, once again, we would like to call upon Dr. Adapa Karthik to join us on stage. Sir Shiv and Tayal to join us on stage as well. We are calling upon Sanjeev N. Gadkar, the Chief Executive Officer, the State Health Agency, Ayushman, Bharat, Pradhan, Mantri, 𝕮𝖆𝖆𝖙𝖆𝖑, UT of Jammu and Kashmir, to join us on stage. Rupesh Kumar ji, the Director from Department of Information Technology Administration of Chandigarh, to join us on stage. Sanjiv Banzal ji, the Director General of Education and Research Network India, to join us on stage. Prashant 𝕮𝖆𝖊𝖐 from SIO, National Informatic Center, INC, Goa, to join us on stage. Srinivas Garimella, the Lead Education and State Government from Google Cloud, to join us on stage. And last but not the least, Aditi Oberoi, the Lead Public Sector Transformation, Fresh Work, to join us right here on stage. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here comes to you the first panel discussion bringing forward reimagining government services delivery through digital transformation and e-governance. So, Sir Murty, over to you.
Good evening. Sorry, we started a little late because we started the first session late. So while the clock is showing 60 minutes, and I think a lot of people have been on the panels where I have been moderator, so we'll usually we save few minutes or few seconds for everyone to get back to the time. So this subject is extremely close to my heart because the service delivery, and in fact, if you people who are there in the session in the first in the plenary, I started with talking about service delivery only, the efficiency in the service delivery, where you actually over a period of time, the efficiency of service delivery leads to trust in the system. When you build a trust in the system, it actually leads to people getting connected to the system, coming back, and thereby the processes get improved. So over a period of time. So that's a whole process. But there has to be a trigger somewhere. There has to be a motion. The wheel has to be put into motion by at least 1 or 2 or 3 activities. And how can digital play a a crucial role in that. So I want to actually, I get about 2-3 minutes to talk about this as setting the context, while I'll throw upon the floor with questions to my panelists, co-panelists. I was actually writing down, as I said in my previous session, I'm also a little bit of a storyteller. So let me actually tell you a small story. I've stayed almost whole of my life in Delhi, and last year when I moved to Bangalore, the first thing, and which is surprise because you get into a society and they said that get a tenants verification. You know, it's very easy. So everyone has to do that. But you know, there is no tenants verification process. There's only what you call is the servant verification process. There's no tenant verification process. I went to Bangalore one, and the person was trying to look at all the process, line item by line item. There's a police verification, and there is a servant verification. There's no tenant verification. So I, under the category of police verification, done that. Okay, can't. So then, but the interesting thing is the way in which Bangalore one person accommodated the my request under a different category. So I was very, very skeptical whether it will complete or not. But after a few days, I just got a SMS from my DigiLocker saying that a police verification form has been uploaded. I did not do anything. It automatically got uploaded because my mobile number is connected to DigiLocker, and they did an Aadhaar authentication while I was submitting it. It automatically got. Imagine the kind of a trust now I have on Bangalore one to have any kind of a conversation and tell them and solve my problem is tremendous. While I have a huge what you call respect and confidence on DigiLocker because I've been using it for all my driving license, certificates and all those things for a very long time. But this process built the entire confidence in the system, and I keep on telling everyone, like, go for a Bangalore one, or that's good for everyone. I'll give you a second instance, and I told about government. I'll give you a second instance, and I think I saw the presentation from Amit in the previous one, and just trying to correlate the experience part of it. See, one is a process, and the second is experience. And most of you flew in that airlines, and I don't want to take the names of the airlines. Or every time you go onto the mobile app of that airlines, if you want to actually do any kind of a transaction, first it will ask for your mobile number, email ID, to even get inside the what you call get a boarding pass or manage your own profile. Okay, so it's not account login. Even if you have done account logging, for every single ticket it does that. Because during the COVID times, government said, I need to track everyone who's traveling and I need to do this thing. They just kept it plain black. And this is not the previous Air India. Okay, so it's not, by the way. Okay, so Air India site hasn't worked for a very long time, so I can't even judge on that piece, but that's a different thing. But this is a private good airlines. Okay, so experience. So when I've stopped actually going to doing that mobile app. When they send me an SMS, I click on the link. That link bypasses that entire process. You know, imagine if I go to the app, I have to mandatorily fill it, but if I actually use the SMS, it bypasses it. So this shows the experience of the app built by a private sector also on the process. So experience is very important for a citizen. So these are the two themes: the experience, the confidence on the system, on delivering the services. That's where I want to actually have the panelists have a conversation. And I think, Karthik ji, I'll start with you. What has been your experience in Punjab on building?
I think it should be. Yeah.
So the experiences that you can actually narrate us, and or not just the current portfolio, but any other, where you have actually seen digital helping out on service delivery and building a trust into the system.
Sure. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'll probably I'll take this 2 minutes that I have to quickly give a snapshot of two broad interventions that we've done about 10 years back. But I also want to talk about the two components: trust, user experience, confidence, and then also scalability of some of those solutions. So as a physician and also as a public health expert and then working in the government, what really amazed all of us was we would ask people to donate blood. So a lot of blood blood centers in this, and I'm talking about 10 years back. I'll tell you what happened after that. 10 years back, most blood centers in the country, they would ask volunteers, collect a lot of blood. And then very often you would see that when the blood is actually needed, that blood would not reach the recipient. And then there would be a lot of wastage of the blood that is already collected. So what we did was a very simple process of connecting all the blood banks of a district. We did this as a pilot from the Department of Administrative Reforms, essentially to show that we can actually, when we ask volunteers to collect the blood, and when any of the hospital of the district needs blood, they should be able to simply send an SMS, and a person can deliver their blood. So we needed to do back-end and forward linkages. We first demonstrated that in a district, and then we said, okay, if we can do it in a district, why not in a state? So we did that in the entire state of Punjab. And to just give you an example, now this is a scalable solution which is running across the entire country. So what you call as 𝕮𝖊𝖐𝖑𝖋𝖔𝖓, which the NACO introduces, was a simple idea that emerged in a district called Rupnagar in Punjab. The second interesting example again is we have the Right to Service Act. In the Right to Service Act, as what Sri Ramji was just talking about, you can get a service, but what if you don't get a service? Then what do? The act in almost all the 14, 15 states where you have a Right to Service Act essentially says you need to go to an appellate authority and ask them saying that I did not get this service. Now, this is an entire manual process. So what we simply did in a district was the moment a service is not registered, a service is not delivered, the system generates an automated notification to the appellate authority and also to the person who needs to give that service. And essentially sends an SMS to the person asking his consent. Do you agree that you've not got this service and therefore would you want to file an appeal? And then the appeal goes to the appellate authority, and it is the appellate authority who has to now listen and ask. So it is not upon the person who's asking for the first service to go and plead people to give them service. So essentially what we do then is all those people who've not rendered that service, their names and the number of pendency is shown in public domain. And this happened in just one small district in Punjab. This was again as a part of an unique initiative by the Department of Administrative Reforms. It's a funded one. And today the entire state of Punjab is a very normal process that people who don't get the service under the Right to Service Act, the notification directly goes to the appellate authority. And any appellate authority who doesn't take an action, even his details are put up in public domain. Now it's not about public shaming, but actually ensuring that the one who needs to get this service, one has a trust on the system, two can also have the confidence. Now I want to this is of course 10 years back, a lot of water has flown since then. So I want to give a third example. The third example that I want to share is when people go for example, breast cancer is widely acknowledged as one of the largest cancers in the country for women. Today, the most standard practice to screen breast cancers is mammography. Now, mammography is an extremely dehumanizing process. You have to go derobe yourself before a technician. The technician would hold the breast tissue as if it is a Xerox machine. If you take a piece of paper, put a Xerox, he just does exactly that for the breast tissue, and they'll give you a report. So it'll almost be a scan. Now, it's an extremely dehumanizing process. Now, with the amount of technology that we have now, what we did was we've asked a startup company to work on what is called breast thermography. So today what happens is there is no pain, there's no radiation, and most importantly, the individual does not have to stand before a technician. It is in a closed room where a thermal scanner takes image of a breast tissue in 5 different regions, and then we use deep learning algorithms to convert this entire thing into a BI-RAD score, which is equivalent to what a mammogram does. Now I'm happy to share with you that Punjab is the first state in the entire world to actually use this breast thermography, and we've screened about 15,000 women in the last 7 months alone. And it's even more gratifying to tell you that this is a homegrown tool. This is a tool that's been built by a company called Neramai in Bangalore. We are now looking at how do we scale this tool, scale this entire thing to the entire country. Now, I am more of an AI and machine learning expert who's been trained in the US. And for me to do this project would have taken me about $20-30 million of federal funding in the US. But it's also very gratifying to note that this company has been able to build this over the last 4 years, spending just about a fraction of less than $1 million. And all that we as Punjab could do was, instead of, they were initially struggling to do just multi-center studies. So we have an entire science on how this tool is more efficacious than mammograph plus ultrasound. So it is also supported by science. And now this is the largest population screening tool with about 60 patents across the world. So all that we've been able to do in Punjab was understand the science and then encourage them to use it as a population screening tool. And therefore now, women don't get scared of a mammogram. They actually go happily, gladly to all these camping sites. And now there's a demand in entire of Punjab to every center to have these breast thermography. So essentially building on these concepts of trust, confidence, I wanted to give examples from variety of fields. So I'll stop here. I know I've already spoken for a lot of time, but thank you.
No, that's an amazing. I think we need him to give another round of applause because this is something which is extremely important. Just a question. Just a small, quick question on this. Besides the breast cancer, is there any other disease they are actually scanning for?
That's a great question. So essentially, what we can do is, when instead of giving radiation, you could actually use it for head and neck as well, because if there is any tumor here, you should be able to use. The concept is very simple. Every part of the body, the amount of heat that we generate would be different between a normal tissue and an abnormal tissue. So for example, in the breast region, you have connective tissue, you have fat tissue, and you also have vasculature. So the heat that is generated in all these three tissues is different. And when there is a normality and abnormality, that a heat map can differentiate. So now what we need is these biomedical devices plus supported by AI and machine learning. So this is typically a deep learning algorithm that works, converts all these millions of points and converts that into a BI-RAD score.
Great.
Sorry, I don't want to take all the time, but yes, is there a possibility of it replacing? The question was, can this breast thermography replace a PET scan? The thing is, a PET scan and others are also more screening tools, but this is also a very small pilot. So it is just limited to just one organ right now. Sure. So, but what all these radiations do, which is CT scan, MRI, not MRI so much, but PET scan, they do extremely well is in the fact that because when you give radiation and when you give a dye into your body, you'll be able to screen them far more easily. But the breast thermography is by far something which the US FDA approved in the 1980s, but nobody has been able to follow it after that. So we've had an initial success with breast cancer, and very happy to note that this is from India. But for the other parts of the body, we still have to do a lot of work. So there's a lot of work that's needed to be done on that. But great question. Thank you.
Perfect. That's really great start to the session, right? So Anandji, I'll come next to you. So what has been your experiences in the current role as in the past, which has created a kind of a customer experience or a citizen experience, which is quite definitive and distinctive?
So first of all, good morning to all the panelists and all the dignitaries present in the audience. So right now I'm looking after a DISCOM, an electricity distribution company in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So as has been mentioned before, the expectations and the quality of output and service that a citizen expects has grown tremendously, and it's a genuine right, in fact, on the part of the citizen to expect certain services from utilities such as electricity or water supply or gas supply or telecom. And we as utilities have to switch gears, or we have to evolve ourselves so that we can cater to those requirements with the standards that the present times demand. However, we do have to take care of the fact that giving a service is not as simple as making an app, because that's what most people think, ki ek app bana do and integrate it with a payment portal and things like that. So we really have to provide for an end-to-end mechanism. For example, in a situation of the DISCOM, we cannot succeed until we regulate or monitor the flow of each and every unit of electricity that goes right from the generating station to the transmission system, to the distribution system, and to the homes or the final end consumer. And I'm glad to say that the government has rightly prioritized the metering and in fact smart metering as one of its top priorities all over the country. And one of the flagship schemes of the present government, which is the revamped distribution sector scheme, it focuses heavily on ensuring that each and every unit of electricity that goes and flows into the national grid is accounted for. And you'd be surprised to know that the entire country is now under one grid. So, which is one of, which is a fabulous achievement given the volume of the consumer base that we have in this country. And so, I mean, theoretically, it's possible for a consumer in Goa to, trace a path all the way to a consumer in Jammu through this national grid. And that extends, that lends to the robustness and, the strength of the system. However, we do have a lot of work to do in ensuring that the monitoring of flow of electricity is, digitized and accurately, the data is accurately gathered, and intelligent interpretations and analytics are made out of that. But we as in all the distribution companies, all the 56 distribution companies in India are, at various stages of implementation, and I'm sure results will be visible very soon. The services that we want the consumer to have, and we are also providing in various phases of development, are that each and every unit of electricity that they consume will be monitored on an app on their phone. And the payment or whatever charges that accrue to them will be visible in a cumulated fashion. They may be paid in a prepaid mode or a postpaid mode. In Jammu and Kashmir, we are shifting towards a prepaid mode because we have traditionally been in a system where there were losses of more than 50 to 60%, whereas the national standard is around 25%. So a lot of resource optimization has to take place. It is taking place. Wastage and thefts of electricity are being stopped. At least at the distribution level, that is at the city level or at the consumer level, the flow of electricity has already been put under the system of smart metering. So it is possible to sit and open our laptops and get a complete data flow of what each consumer is consuming in a certain area. And in fact, a typical problem that happens in most of the Indian cities is hooking. So a question that commonly occurs is, how will you ensure that smart metering outsmarts the problem of hooking? So the system that we have developed is that for each consumer who has a smart meter, we also have put a smart meter on the distribution transformer through which the consumer gets his electricity. So on a daily basis, we tally the data of how much electricity has gone out of the transformer and how much electricity the consumers in that transformer have consumed on aggregate. So any discrepancy that has been that is observed is attributed to hooking, and we can narrow down our area of search and catch hold of the person who is doing that theft of electricity. So these kind of interventions have ensured that a lot of losses have come under control, and because again the question comes that in a country like India with a population of more than 1.4 billion, so when our daily consumption of electricity is around 8,000 to 9,000 million units, so as a country we cannot afford to waste electricity because most of it comes from coal, which is also a strategic national precious asset. So the whole until we monitor each and every unit and make sure that whatever electricity we are providing to the consumer gets accounted for, gets compensated to the DISCOMs, the health of the DISCOMs is assured, the financial health of DISCOMs is assured, we actually cannot move in the direction of energy security. So again, I would like to highlight a crisis which happened last year when there was a certain shortage of coal for a certain time in the peak season, and this led to blackouts in large parts. So again, this all is linked directly or indirectly in one way or the other to the financial health of our companies, of our transmission companies, of our generating companies, of PSUs like NTPC, NHPC, of DISCOMs, of which we are one part. And again, the whole thing crystallizes to the fact that until we behave as responsible service providers and until on the other side of the table we behave as responsible consumers, technology will come in, but we have to ensure that we pay for what we use, and definitely we'll be moving towards a paradigm where we are having sufficient for our needs. And another intervention that the whole system is moving towards is the enterprise resource planning, the usage of IT, which has evolved over the last 2 or 3 decades to a level where each and every employee or each and every asset of the company or each and every transformer or endpoint of the company is being brought under a certain monitoring mechanism, so that every single person is made accountable for what his area of jurisdiction is supposed to do. For example, we have certain remote areas, and traditionally there were no regulatory mechanisms or systems in place to ensure that people paid for what they used and all. But now so it's just not technical, but everything is now related to the human resource connected to that technicality. So the person who's posted there on the beat duty or on the J level or on the senior level, in one way or the other, he's accountable for whatever losses take place in his area. So a certain amount of pressure also flows down the chain, and accountability becomes more throughout the system. And that's the overall direction that we are moving towards.
Great. That's really heartening to know there's a great progress in that. And in fact, in utility space, we need more such examples.
Yes, definitely.
So let me change a little bit of a thing. So I'll go to Srini, you first. So from the government to private sector. I think we heard a lot about the process and applications and moving on to the cloud, right? And we know that the cloud has actually scaled and the applications have been able to, we have seen demonstrated quality and value coming from the application. Where is the next set of transformation or a tangent which is going to happen on the cloud investments for the government? So if you have to actually say these are the 2 things that the government should do in the cloud transformation journey, what would be those? I'm changing the questions that Shriram has sent, so there will be surprises. So people
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. If you look at it from the cloud perspective or the government services perspective, just before going there, I would like to set a context as to what essentially is the service or what essentially are the things that we are looking to cater to the citizens, right? So there are 3 or 4 aspects that I would like to kind of mention here. One is basically the access. I'll come to your question. One is the access, right? How are we providing access to the the underprivileged and also the have-nots, and how are we covering the entire population, right? Merely saying that we are providing services, or as he was saying, the app is there, you can download and start using it. So how are we actually catering to those aspects? Now here is something where we are talking about, from the perspective of registries, where you would be liking to have all the citizen registries being provided. Next would be basically the quality of the service. When we talk about quality of the services, basically are we providing them at the right time, okay? What is the level of excellence that we are providing them, right? And are my services personalized? Are they relevant to the citizens? And anytime, anywhere, I should be able to kind of access those services. How much of paperwork is involved in them? And coming back to the inclusion, when you're talking about these services, there is a little bit of inclusion also which has to be coming to place, wherein have I addressed and my solutions and my services, are they inclusive, okay? Here we talk about data disaggregation, right? Wherein the specific communities or underprivileged or maybe the society whosoever is there, are we providing the services what they need, okay? So these are all the aspects which somebody has to look at when we are talking about any cloud-based solutions. Having said this, to go to the next level, for example, if I'm talking about whether it is in education or health or agriculture, wherever you're talking, the things which really come to my mind is basically the generative AI right now. that's being most talked about, and how government is going to use all these along with AI, ML, and data analytics to provide meaningful solutions to the citizens. So when I talk about this, for example, two aspects, I was talking to her on their solution. Now, when we talk about public grievances, am I getting my grievance addressed in the right time, whichever platform where am I going, okay? Now, from that perspective, half of the time the government spends in terms of, addressing those requirements through a paper process or internal process are so cumbersome that, they would not be able to react to the citizens in the right time at the right place, right? So from that perspective, generative AI is something which we are looking at, which would be the next wave where government should seriously look at it, where they would be able to kind of churn out tons of information to the citizens without having to kind of, have human resources being spent on those, mundane day-to-day activities, wherein the citizen goes there, puts a query. It's beyond chatbot what you are talking about right now. The kind of data that gets generated, the kind of information that is provided to the citizen, where to go, what to do, what next would be much more easier. And coming in to internalize these things, how am I freeing up my government servants or the public servants' time, right? We do have a lot of annotations, note-taking, and then proposals within the government. Why can't we automate that aspect and free up their services as well? So when you look at it from those perspectives, we will be able to generate a lot of meaningful, I would rather say proposals or internal note-taking, or maybe the green sheets, what we call, which would actually help them to kind of, free up their time and provide the quality services elsewhere. So all these aspects, for example, if you talk about data, you're talking about AI, you're talking about ML, all these things are the ones which actually we look forward to use in the back end, which improvises and helps the citizens at large. This is what is the kind of services that we are talking about right now.
Perfect. Okay. So, so carrying forward on the Gen AI, I think there's a very interesting area. We will have much more further debates, discussions on that. So I'll come on, now I move back to the government. Okay, so Sanjeev, so one, from your standpoint, I think, again, I'm talking about the experience that the citizen service delivery, but is there any experience I can actually connect with some kind of emerging technologies that you have?
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. As far as the emerging technologies you're talking about, I feel that the health sector is one area where everyone is connected to, and especially the poor people doesn't have that much of facilities to have the best of the medical facilities. But I would like to say that the introduction of the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, which has been implemented in the whole of India, and especially in the J&K, this is one of the best scheme which has been implemented, and which is on the IT-based scheme. In a sense, like any common man with the Ayushman card can go to any M-panel hospital and get free treatment without any hassle and difficulties. And the whole scheme runs on the portal. There are various stakeholders which are involved into that thing. The hospital, of course, the main part which delivers the services, and then there is a government agency which looks after the claims and the payment part of that things. As far as the implementation part of concern is concerned, I would say that this is one of the best scheme as of now, and J&K has introduced this scheme universal to all the citizens, whereas in the rest of the countries, I think it is only applicable only to the marginalized and the poverty line families. So under these schemes, around 5 lakhs is been insurance cover has been given to each family, and we have got around 25 lakhs families in whole of J&K. The other part, very important of this is that this is a scheme where it is a conversion with the other states also. It is not that it is only restricted to a particular state. In a sense, like any citizen of J&K, if he goes to either to Delhi or Chandigarh or go to Maharashtra or any other part of the country, and if they have any medical difficulties or issues, they can go to any M-panel hospital and take a free treatment over there. And it's not that they have to carry a cash with them and then go to those hospitals and get themselves treated. So, and through this portal, because of this IT innovations, the hospital in that particular state can directly raise the issues which the state government, the J&K, pays to them. So this is very, very, very important because people are very helpful to get this scheme throughout in India. It is not that only that they have to go to a particular hospital only in J&K. The second part, which I feel very impressed with this particular scheme, is that the whole payment gateway is on DBT. I mean, the whole payment has been done through and on DBT basis, so that any hospital, I mean, we know all like earlier, hospital used to never pay very income tax to the government. To that extent, they used to have this thing. So with this payment gateway, we know like which hospital has been getting how much income from the government schemes and how much payment has been made by them, because the whole scheme has been run on the portal, and then we know that which hospitals have been getting revenue from the state government. The third part is that when we talk about the insurance scheme, people don't have much of the things, because if they make an Ayushman card, that card been accepted in all the empanel hospital. Initially, when the scheme was initiated, it was made to only public hospitals in J&K. Gradually, we talked about the trust, what the people have, the stakeholders have. So when the private hospitals came to know that the transparency in the transactions and the insurance claim, they came forward, and then they said that they also want to be empaneled under this scheme. And then now in J&K, almost 95% private hospitals are under the Arogya Yojana scheme of the country. And that is how I think that this is an innovation and initiative which has helped almost all the people in the sector. That's what I would say that thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjeev. Rupesh ji, I'll come to you next. You have the mic. It's on. So, I know Chandigarh has been blessed with quite a lot of talent and has been doing a lot of work. PEC and the PU and everyone has been doing a lot of supporting a lot of stuff, and there's quite a lot of startups. And I spent my formative years in Chandigarh, so I have very, very passionate about what Chandigarh does as the. So what is that in the last 5-6 years the Chandigarh has taken up as the new initiatives? And I want to just add a little bit of one small word. Has that built transparency in the system for the citizens to have trust?
Good afternoon to all the co-panelists and the dignitaries present here. Yes, Chandigarh is doing a lot in terms of the technology, and we are blessed that we have PEC over there, PU over there. And in last few years, we had just constructed an entrepreneurship development center that is under the aegis of Department of IT, which I am director over there currently. And in that center in 2017, we have initially started it as an incubation center. And we are giving space to the young entrepreneurs and the startup companies who wants to nurture their ideas and to build up, who are in the nascent stage of their career. Now in 2020, we have built up a co-working space over there, and with the facility of play and plug. And with the due course of time, we are converting all those bays into co-working space. Initially, we were having 80 co-working space. Now we are having 103, and all are fully occupied. I am happy to share that all are fully occupied, and we are in the process of taking up the matter with the Government of India that we should create another EDC building so that the young entrepreneur and startups can be nurtured over there. And in terms of providing this technological support to the college students, because many wants to become to start idea but never know how to go ahead with that. So we are tying, making associations with different angel investors so that they can help the startups how they can nurture their idea and how they can get the funding from there. Moreover, in terms of building the trust in the systems, as Mr. Murty was saying, how the trust can be built. I am seeing this because, as Ma'am Reti has also said in the morning, that during this time we have gained a lot, we have built many software, but according to me, the need of the hour is that we should train how to use these services, both from the government side and from the citizen side. We are continuously building the systems and continuously upgrading them. But whoever the officials working in our offices from so long, who are not well versed with the technology, they are finding it difficult. In Chandigarh, we have started that thing initially for the government employees, that quarterly all the portals like e-office, GEM, e-procurement, e-tendering, all these they should be given training. We are having our center over there. They will come. The department thinks that this is my person who is looking after this work. They can come, they can attend the sessions, the basics they can learn. If they want a specific training, we are providing them. And now we are in the process of just noting down and publishing a book which will provide information about all the services which the government is offering, and some universal services like how to apply for a PAN, how to get your Aadhaar card updated, so that it can be put in our curriculum, so that the children can be made aware. We are also planning to organize camp in these slum areas, so that the underprivileged should be made aware how they can use these apps, these portals which are being developed. Because until and unless these are not being used by each and everyone, so we will lose a huge chunk of the population who are using this. Another thing what we are going to do in Chandigarh, we have just floated a tender for the property management information system. Herein, because what will happen when I am going for the registry, I have to produce my, whoever is my purchaser. He has to ensure that I have cleared all my electricity bill, I had cleared my water bill, I had cleared my property tax bill. We are planning that we should have one unique ID as Aadhaar for the property also, so that all the information related to electricity, water, property, and so on and so forth will be available. If some intended purchaser of a property, they should see that yes, I am not being cheated and everything has been clear. Another thing, I am looking after the house allotment also as a secretary. I tell you a little thing which I had encountered few days back. Now we are building on that. That we have allotted one house to one of the government employee. And he came up to me that, sir, I am facing a problem that the previous allottee who has vacated that house 1 year back, and now I have been allotted that house, the water bill is 32,000. And water department is asking me, you should pay the bill because you are now the allottee. And they are not installing a new meter. But what is, he is not the defaulter. Now, water department is saying that our bill is due. Why should not, this is against this property. So we have to clear the bill first, then only we will install a new meter. And same is the case with the electricity department. The earlier allottee got retired 1 year back. Now we are planning that we should integrate the electricity, water, and all the things with the employee ID of the intended allottee, so that the water and electricity bill can be deducted from his salary and from pension also. In that way, we are planning to bring more and more transparency into the system. And with the help of the startups and everything, we are planning that we will go ahead and provide the services also. And we should train the common person as well as officers how to use these services. Thank you.
I really loved the last one, taking the bills from the previous occupant and doing that. And it's very courageous, actually, in the government, at least I can say that. In the private sector, it's okay. So commercial complex is okay, but government, it's very courageous also. So I think that calls for acknowledgements from the everyone. But Aditi, now I'm coming to you. So the question that Shriram sent was SaaS. I don't want to ask about SaaS. I think SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS and all these things are technical terms. I saw the presentation Amit has given. Now, you have a problem statement now given by Rupesh ji on a thing which is, there's a process which was broken between the two entities, one person moving. How does a kind of a low-code, no-code platform of Freshworks helps you build that and to get it generated within few hours, days or something, so that this problem doesn't actually come and you don't need to wait for about a month, 2 months or 6 months to do that. Is that possible? Is that today possible?
Absolutely. And I think it's a live case study that I've been given by NSN, and I need to give a solution to that. I'm not going to say that SaaS organizations are pay per use, pay per scale, etc., etc. Specific to Sir's example, where he's trying to resolve a problem when the previous occupant has not cleared his due diligences and has moved on, and the new one has to be done. So there are solutions available in a way where you first need to, like he said, that we need to identify a unique identifier and tag your or map your other IDs, etc., to that one unique ID and then follow up on that. However, triggers should be generated the moment an application has come in for a transfer of residence from, or when he's letting go of that property or that house. Of course, he's given a resignation, or there is a transfer request that has come in. Whenever that transfer request has been accepted, at that point in time, all the triggers related to activities for closure should be generated into the rest of the systems that are working. Now, those systems, say we put up a system in place which kind of monitors this as a query or monitors this as a grievance. Now, transfer of that request to the relevant departments, assigning tags to those departments, him as an administrator being able to view on a dashboard to see what kind of queries are coming from what department. How long are we taking to try and solve those queries? Am I able to pull out resources from places where they're performing well and put it somewhere else? So that kind of visibility and that kind of solution is available. देखिए, I'm changing my language. टेढ़ा है पर मेरा है is the attitude that we've been running around in the government and public sector. बहुत प्यार है हमें अपने solution से, क्योंकि हमने बनाया, हमें बहुत करीब रहती है वो चीज़ हमसे. किंतु क्या जिसके लिए आप वो solution बना रहे हैं, क्या वो टेढ़ा उसको पसंद है? क्या वो उसकी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है? तो थोड़ा सा कुरकुरे से हटके अगर हम सोचें कि जिसके लिए हम बना रहे हैं उसकी प्रॉब्लम हम सिंपल वे में कैसे सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करेंगे. We've been in the digital transformation journey for more than 2 decades now, and we today we are talking about so many applications. So many of us are here. Is it actually getting to the people we want to serve? We are talking about bots. Is it getting to the marginal population? Are we thinking about voice bots? Are we thinking about any technology that we're talking about? How can we take care of the 1.2 billion, not just people who use smartphones, not just people in this room. So we need to just like rethink our procedures and think from that person's perspective, and of course from your perspective also, how are you going to make your life simpler trying to impart better technology? So I think I've spoken too much, but then I hope I've been able to answer your questions, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
No, thanks, Aditi. And in fact, I think on a lighter note, she took it really seriously that when I said I stayed in Delhi for a long time, so she wanted to actually check whether I understand the Hindi or not. I do understand Hindi. Okay, so, okay. Sanjeev ji, I'm coming to you. I'm just connecting that part where the entire thing is kept about how the systems have to be networked, how you need to actually get the data from everywhere. And I know the position you hold, you have actually done a lot of such programs which has a multi-disparate systems, networking them, bringing all together, all those things. Can you actually share a few experiences from your projects there?
Thank you very much, Mr. Murty, and thank you all the organizers for inviting me here and given this opportunity. As we know that this digital transformation journey mainly started in way back 2015 with the Digital India program launched by the Honorable Prime Minister. And we started with the, becoming a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. And one of the pillar for that was digital infrastructure and connectivity. Because that is the basic thing which is there over which we build everything actually. So as far as digital connectivity is concerned and digital infrastructure is concerned, much has been done. As has been shown in the last presentation about the India stack, that we have built so much, based on the connectivity and the infrastructure. As far as education sector is concerned, it is a very, very vast system. And with the new national education policy of 2020, it has been envisaged that all the schools or educational institutes should be connected on the hybrid mode. Now, once we connect everything on the hybrid mode, because we have seen during the pandemic time that how any time of such type of calamity can actually hit the basic things like education or health or other infrastructure. So we should be ready for next this type of wave if it comes. We should be ready. So all the education institute which are over 15 lakh in the country, presently we have connected only about 23% of that. So this task ahead is actually humongous task, and that require a lot of dedicated agencies to complete that one. And not only to provide connectivity and infrastructure within that, it is very important that they should be networked together, because that is very important in India when we have such a large population of students in various education institute. There is a big problem of having teachers in all the education institute, teachers in particularly in remote and inaccessible areas. And if wherever they are available, it is also a very big issue about to have a good quality of teaching. So both these problems are actually addressed when we have the network kind of solution. And ARNET India Education and Research Network, by name it says, ARNET India has done much work in this area. We have connected many schools on the network mode, like in Himachal Pradesh, we have connected around 300 schools with the district centers. Wherever a good teacher is available, he is able to take classes for 70-80 schools in the interactive and interactive mode. Similarly, for medical colleges also, we have connected 50 number of national network, which is called National Medical College Network, NMCN. Which is both the PGI Chandigarh and Lucknow is there. 6 AIMS are there, including AIMS Delhi. And then so many good medical colleges are connected, wherein a good professor can, if a cardiologist is there, he is able to, guide and take classes for the remaining 49 colleges on remote basis on network mode. Similarly, schools also we have connected more than 4,000 recently in various parts of the country. And other than that, Wi-Fi networks also, like campus network, which is connected on Wi-Fi, that also many projects we have done. And one very good thing which we do for the colleges, that is called EduRoam. Wherever any faculty or any student is there, and if that institute is connected, we are the sole EduRoam provider for the country, for the entire country, because it's an international network. Wherein for India, ARNET is the only institute. If your institute is connected with ARNET's EduRoam network, the student and faculty of that particular institute, whenever he goes to other institute, he need not to go for the guest Wi-Fi user ID password. By his own user ID password, he is able to access the IT services in the other university, not only in India, but across the world. More than 100 countries it is there. So we have that network also. So data rates, of course, are very low in India, but if you go abroad, then it is really a big challenge. So that also we are addressing. So other than that, other areas like domain, we are the biggest, for the educational institute, we are the sole domain registrar, wherein any institute having ac.in or edu.in kind of domain name, we are the sole registrar for that. We have connected more than 17,000 education institute in that. And that has got a big value outside. Whenever any researcher is accessing, giving his ac.in as his email ID, that is recognized world over. So those kind of things we are there. And now we are focusing on the these tribal areas actually. So we are connecting tribal schools also. And I have personally visited many schools, and I have seen that kind of transformative change which the digital connectivity and digital infrastructure brings among the students. I myself have asked many of the students to take some 15-20 minute session and the way they are able to operate these interactive boards, or the way they are able to access the information, or the various channels, YouTube or concerts, classes, etc. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it is beyond my imagination, I will say like that. So whole purpose is to do service, particularly to those in the remote areas, and to bring about some incremental change for which we are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjeev. That's really heartening to listen about the tribal students getting empowered through the core infra that you're laying. With the core infra, the NET is doing, I think NIC is been the backbone of the government for a extremely long time and building the application services. And so from a normal computerization, digitalization, transformation, I think we have given so many names.
Yeah.
How does NIC Goa is helping the state of Goa in building? Is there any applications or any services that you can talk about, Prashant?
Namaskar and Suprabhatam. Thanks to the organization for giving this opportunity to express my views. As far as question is concerned, I will try to elaborate in different terms. In fact, when we are talking about the e-governance perspective, I will categorize in 3 to 4 levels. One is the information, second is the interaction, third is the transaction, and fourth is the monitoring. So as far as these aspects are concerned, I would like to put up in 3 different examples which we have already executed at Goa, especially government of Goa. In fact, I am working in Goa from last 5 years, and I have seen a drastic change as far as the implementation of IT and its solution is concerned. First example I would like to elaborate is that tomorrow CM is going to inaugurate e-office implementation in Goa. That is one of the good initiative from government of Goa. In fact, I was following this thing since long, but somehow because of the limitation and restrictions of the resources. So NIC being a national level e-governance prospective project implementation from Ministry of IT, they are also collaborating with the private, public-private partnership. In this context, what we are doing is that we have collaborated with the 𝕿𝖗𝖆𝖙, and we have got the cloud resources from it. In fact, we have also the cloud, but the demand for a NIC cloud is tremendous, so we cannot just cope up with it. So we are leveraging it to the other cloud providers. Similarly, this MIT has also approved almost 10 to 11 vendors from private sector to avail the cloud resource for various type of e-governance project. This is first. Second aspect is that, as I was suggesting, that monitoring. The fourth concern is the monitoring. We have introduced one project, Intelligent Traffic Management System in Goa, and it has been started just on 1st June only. It includes the almost 5 vendors. One vendor is from the IITs, who is doing the AI-based simulation of the packets or the pictures which he is preparing and fetching it to the system. Those information is communicated to the NIC backend system. There is an integration with the Department of Police, Traffic Department, Transport Department, and the Smart City that is being executed by L&T. So once the information is passed to the NIC board, they are trying to understand, and if it is a HRP, higher security number plates are there, it will automatically read the numbers, and it will try to find that almost 7 to 8 type of offense which is being captured through video as well as photos. And system is built in such a way that after specific verification is required, because in many of the places these fancy numbers are there. So because of the fancy number, we have to introduce the manual intervention, and then the notice will be issued as sir to the concerned authority or the concerned persons who is driving or not obeying the traffic rules. It may be from the Goa, it may be from anywhere of the India, because we have the complete ecosystem for the Vahan and Sarthi, which include the complete details for each and every Vahan, and as well as the license holder of the entire India. So it simulates it with the help of AI. And one more thing we want to introduce is that Goa is the first state in the country where we have introduced the central bank digital currency. In fact, DBT scheme has been started in many of the places, but in Goa, with the help of the IDFC First Bank, we have introduced the central bank's digital currency, which will help to generate a wallet for the individuals, students, which they can spend it to the canteen or any of the concerned merchant. So these are the projects which we have initiated recently, and it has been launched and it is rolling in a fast mode. As far as the intelligent traffic management system is concerned, because that government of Goa's revenue has increased tremendously, and it is boosting the entire economy of the Goa.
Great. That's really interesting. So, I was hearing that Goa has the largest per capita income, and the inflow remittances is also high. It makes a lot of sense for IDFC and other banks to set up all the digital currency systems here to start with. I think this is a good state to be there. Okay, so I'm going to change a little bit the structure because we have less time. So I'm going to open up for the floor for any question, 2 questions, and then we'll come back for a wrap. Any questions? And it's like an auction, 1, 2, 3, and I'll go back to the panelist. Okay, there's no questions. Okay, so coming back on the same flow, but very I need a 60-second answers, please, because there's the 3 minutes left. Anantji, you talked about the entire, where is the notes I've written? Yeah. You actually spoken about the one where the mission has helped and the infrastructure and everything is getting delivered for the utility space. Now, you also mentioned that it has helped bring down the or the national average is around 20% in the 50 is what J&K is currently having. Just very quick question. So, is there anything else that you could have done today when you have the mission, if you think the mission is now and you are actually made the chair and you have the set of generative AI or a cloud coming to you as a powerful tools or even a low-code, no-code, is there anything, one thing you want to change in the whole thing and speed up the process because it's taking a lot of time for implementation?
The thing that I would like to, where I would like an improvement is basically the process where we procure stuff. So because, and I think most of the people in government would agree to that, because we really need state-of-the-art things both in hardware sector and software side. So when so we have to actually evolve with the times, and I believe we should have some kind of while moving ahead in and taking care of all rules and transparency. Well, that cannot be compromised, but there should be space to ensure that the best quality softwares and tools are made available beyond the scope of even probably any other rules.
Okay, so I'll rephrase that later, but I think that's a good point for all the private sector that you want to crunch the procurement time. So we all love that answer, by the way. Rupesh, I'm coming to you. You said that the entire process of creating that book, which actually details out all the services, how it needs to be delivered, and you're actually creating the teaching for the kids to include that, so that the awareness is created about how they need to use the service. Now, while the awareness is improved, the usage comes, have you seen any kind of a what do you call the kids not happy with the service provisioning? Because the end of the day, one side you have created a lot of awareness and excitement. On the other side, the applications are not ready. So did you feel that experience too in Chandigarh?
We are in the process of publishing that book. That has not been published as yet. But what I was trying to do is that because we are creating lots and lots of services and apps, one should be aware how to use that apps safely so that the misuse can be eliminated up to the extent possible. And in the future, people will know how these apps and these portals can be used for their own benefit. When you are not aware that this sort of app or this sort of application is available, and they are still going offline to avail that services. We are trying to move in that direction.
Great, thanks. Srini, very quick question. Quality of service, you said one of the 4 elements that you want to improve. Does generative AI improves the quality of service, or it actually creates much more questions on the quality of service because you don't know what is actually coming for you, because generative AI's first 2 lines is new and original content?
Not really, I don't think so at this point in time, Anson. It all depends upon the, the backend systems what we have actually created and how the models are trained to, generative AI to access them and generate either synthetic content or aggregate the existing content and provide you those valid answers, okay? Part of it is already happening right now on chatbots and all. When you look at the current, chatbot scenario using AI, ML and all, we are providing a lot of, relevant answers. Now what this is going to do is, it is going to take on to the next level wherein you will be getting all the relevant answers and the services are provided so that you would be able to kind of, help the citizens to get the appropriate, I would rather say information. Now coming back to the, inconsistencies what you are saying or whether it will be able to do it or not, that arises when there is data which is unknown and you are training it on something where you are experimenting in a new area. So from the government services perspective, what we are talking right now is the known domain, known area where you are going and providing it for them to collate all the information and give you a meaningful insight and information. So that's where I don't think so it would be a challenge for it to kind of, mislead or give wrong answers there.
So we'll debate on that one-to-one. Aditi, so let me actually reverse, because this is a question which I usually ask all the government panel. What is the one challenge you face which you want to share with the government people here, which is a SaaS platform? Because we talked about speed in the procurement. Cloud, still we are able to get the empanelment and everything. SaaS platform.
So question is, how do we procure SaaS platforms quickly?
You can rephrase from your business context, but my question is, what's one challenge that as a SaaS?
So there are 2 challenges. One are people-related challenges. Some are zealous, some may not be. Then there is change in tenor, which kind of eradicates the purpose. If we've been working on something for a longer duration, then people change, things change. However, processes of procurement, we are partners with AWS and we work on AWS. So if you are using AWS in any way, you can procure us via their marketplace. That's the fastest means of procurement, and not just us, other SaaS organizations may also have such partners to help them in a faster procurement process.
Okay. Sanjeev, I'll come to you first and then so I have 2 Sanjeev. So, okay, on the education platform, so which is networking, what else can be built on top of it? Is there anything new you're thinking about?
Yeah, of course, now you see 5G spectrum auction has already completed in the month of October. And now we have, Honorable Prime Minister has already launched this 5G services, and we have covered almost more than 60% of the districts. And education sector is one where is lot many applications of 5G technology are there, particularly going for this mixed reality kind of thing. Or some last week or this week itself, you must have heard about the HoloLens kind of thing. They have got lot many application in education, because it is important that every student, whatever they are studying or whether they are reading, their concept should be built very clearly. And concept can be built when they can actually see and picturize the thing, which can be done through the technology. So concept building becomes very easy to them. And then they will be able to answer any kind of question related to that particular concept. So that is very important application of 5G technology in education sector. And the overall aim is to not only to make the concepts understand in better manner, to generate some kind of curiosity or innovation or problem solving approach in the student, so that it actually affects or in positive manner entire his whole life, and he should become a problem solver of the problems which we face. So that's the one thing, technology like 5G kind of thing, which we are looking for in future.
Thank you. Thanks. Prashantji, just very quick stuff. How is there any AI-driven program project that you are running in NIC?
Yeah,
You
in
go.
fact, we have the Excellence Center which execute and perform the AI-related activity. As just now I have communicated, in intelligent traffic management system also, we have used the AI technology. And it is being automatically detecting what sort of offenses the concerned person is doing automatically, and accordingly it is categorizing. And at the end of the it is just verified because of the fancy number plate. They will just verify and ensure that thing. One more thing I want to add it is that as far as e-governance digital transformation is concerned, if you see decades before, the success rate was just 12%. Then after 5 years, the success rate has reached to 26%. Now, but if you evaluate and find out, the success rate has reached almost 76%. It's not only because of the participation from the government. It needs a participation from the industry as well as participation from the citizens also. Then only we can boost and leverage this technology in a better way.
Okay, thank you. Sanjeev ji, very quick. I just got a note from him saying time's up. In fact, the note says that please get out of the dais. So that's what he's written. So, so very quickly, one new intervention you're bringing to the healthcare in J&K.
Yes, I will be also short. Thing is that whenever it comes to any social schemes, and especially the government schemes, the satisfaction of people is the main thing, whether people are satisfied with the services or not. And if you see the present scheme, there is no scope for to understand where people can give a feedback directly for the scheme what they have availed with. So J&K have introduced one QR code scan mechanism, which has been circulated to all the empaneled hospitals, and whenever the patients are discharged, they are required to scan that things and give that feedback on the spot itself. And they can give whatever experience they have got, whether they are satisfied with the service or not, whether there was an out-of-pocket expenditure or there was the service was good or bad, whatever it is. And like Aditi was saying that there should be some triggers to understand how we can improvise on this system. So here is the area where we can get the triggers saying that which are the hospitals which are giving good services and which are the hospitals which are not giving or catering to the people in the right way. So we are getting that feedback on the spot. And I will be happy to say that with that innovations, where the people have given the feedback, the 95% people have given a good feedback saying that they are getting good benefits and they are happy with the services, and 3% people have said that they are not happy with the services because there was charged out of pocket expenditure. That's the thing. So we are able to understand which areas and which hospitals have been doing that's the thing. Thank you.
I am coming at the end to you, Karthik, but anything beyond what you have just mentioned on the AI, is there any other startup you are working with or any new stuff? I'll close with that, and you are the person who will be closing the entire session, so.
Thank you. I know most of the audience are almost on a ventilator, so I'll probably close it very quickly. So essentially, globally, what's happening in AI is we're moving more towards a multimodal AI, whereas I think in India, we're still at a unimodal AI. We're still using data separately. We use either imaging separately, we use audio separately, video separately, and globally, the entire movement towards a multimodal AI. I think that's essentially, especially in healthcare. So I'll pause and say, I think can we now start getting all data streams, all types of data, structured, unstructured, semi-structured data, and build most of these AI and machine learning applications so that I think the next generation is actually going to be there. So I think there are a lot of wonderful startups that we have. I think that's essentially where as a country we need to go.
Perfect. Thank you everyone. Thank you panelists. Thank you for bearing with us.
Test. All right, thank you so much to all the esteemed panelists. But before you go, sirs, madam, we do have a special personality who would like to call on stage. Sir Ajay Kaul, can we have you joining us on stage to please give away lovely mementos to our panelists right here. He is the head state and local government from AWS India. Ladies and gentlemen, Ajay Kaul, sir. What better than to have started up with a moderator himself, Sir Murty, sir. Let's have you joining in. Sir, let's go with you first. Well, thank you so much, Murty, sir, for beautifully doing the honors of giving us the beautiful moderation session right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Murty sir from the Government and Public Service of Consultant Leader of Deloitte, India. Thank you so much, Sir Murty. Moving on, we would like to call upon a personality from the Government of Punjab, Dr. Adapa Karthik, to join us on stage right there. He is the Special Secretary of Department of Health and Family Welfare and Department of Government Resources from the Government of Punjab. Thank you so much. Moving on, Shiv Anant. Tayal sir, if we can have you joining us here. The Managing Director of Jammu Power Distribution Corporation Limited, UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you so much, sir. Moving on, we call upon Sanjeev M. Gadkar sir to join us in front, the CEO of the State Health Agency, Ayushman, Bharat, Pradhan, Arogya Yojana from the UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Moving on, Rupesh Kumar sir, the Director of Department of Information Technology Administration of Chandigarh. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us right here. To another Sanjiv Banzal ji, let's have you joining us right here, the Director General of Education and Research Network, India. Thank you so much for giving us your time right here. Next, we would like to call upon Prashant K. sir, the SIO from National Information Center, NIC, Goa. Thank you so much. Moving on to Srinivas 𝕮𝖆𝖙𝖆𝖔𝖓, the Lead Education and State Government of Google Cloud, to join us right here. Thank you so much for your brilliant concepts and ideas. And last but not the least, the only lady in the panelist, 𝕮𝖆𝖙𝖆𝖑, joining us right here, the Lead of Public Sector Transformation from Freshworks. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause please to the panelists right there and our esteemed delegate right here. Thank you so much, Ajay Kaulji, for joining us right here. Let's have you coming together for a photograph. A little bit closer, sirs and ladies. Let's have you coming a little bit closer with a broad smile for a photograph right there.